What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid, back with maybe some acid techno, maybe acid trance. I think it depends on what year you're in when you're talking about it. Back in the late 90s, I definitely called this acid trance, hard acid trance. Chalky's tunes and, Chalky's labels more generally, VCF, VCR. I mean, they literally would have on the sleeve, like, the only acid trance shop in London, and it was all about hard acid trance. And then over the years, although fair to say, even before I go on with that story, even at the time, I've mentioned before, I think a lot of acid tunes from the mid to late 90s had this sort of hybrid flavor. It was kind of acid trance, but it also had elements of acid techno. So, these are fuzzy borders, and I don't think any person's opinion should be a definitive, oh yes, well this person said it is acid trance or acid techno, therefore. But yeah, I do think there's an ambiguity. In more recent years, I think trance, like as a term and as like a range of genres or subgenres, has kind of fallen out of favor among a lot of techno people. I think there's a lot of techno people who don't like to say that they listen to any trance, so when they talk about the Chalky's tunes and the VCF tracks from the 90s, they basically call it acid techno. I'm fine with that, but I just think we have to understand that historically most of us were calling this acid trance. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to one of the most famous tunes ever on Chalky's tunes, or of acid trance more generally. We're talking Solar Quest, we're talking George Saunders, just an absolute legend, and to some people's mind, and I don't necessarily disagree, one of the most talented manipulators of the 303 that has ever existed, one of the best acid gurus who's ever graced the TB-303. But yeah, his tunes back on Chalky's tunes were just these magical one-off works of art. In many cases, they're more like evolving acid stories than like nice formulaic, like clear-cut, dance floor-oriented tunes. But I love that. I love someone who was making acid music, acid trance, acid techno, in an expressive, creative way, rather than just thinking about, okay, what do DJs want to make this tune dance floor friendly, and so on. So big ups to George Saunders, big ups to Chalky for his label. We're going to listen to his most famous tune, I think, called Acid Air Raid. There's 4 different versions. Now, on my old channel, and, the sound levels weren't right, and I was sort of sitting off camera, so it's not a video that I'm going to post on this new channel. But on my old channel, I actually did react to one of the mixes of this already, which was the ambient version. But yeah, we're going to listen to maybe the most famous, certainly the one that I used the most back in the day when I got this record, which is to say, I don't think I got this when it came out. What is this, like 95? Yeah, I wasn't buying records until 98. But I did get it before Discogs. I probably got it in a record shop, maybe like 99, 2000, something like that. I definitely remember playing it at a party because I opened one of my sets with it, and it was like a very sort of proud moment for me, and that like, I've got one of these acid tunes that I really love, and I'm going to use it to sort of set the atmosphere in my mix. But yeah, we're going to listen to George's All-Nighter, which is what this version is called. There are also a couple other versions, Analog Attack and Euphoric Acid. They all are the same tune, but with a little bit different of a flavor. Oh, I have to say, this has a huge note in the run-out groove. The Acid Air Raid will smash your ego and educate your consciousness. Shout out to that. Big ups to George and to Chalky for that. But yeah, this is Chalky's tunes. What's the number? Do we have a cat number? Number 4. Chalky's tunes number 4. I believe this is from 1995. This is Solar Quest, Acid Air Raid, George's All-Nighter. Get that fluff ball off the stylus. Like falling like synth snow, but fire as well. Acid fire bubbling from below. Boiling, roiling magma, acid magma. Do 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 do. It's an electricity and a bite to the acid already. I don't know if I've reacted to it on this channel. I did react at some point to the Chalky and Geezer remix, which is a brilliant remix, and maybe the most like dance floor burning of all the tunes, of all the versions, I mean. But yeah, this is the classic to my mind. already getting like more frantic. Like it's just, again, boiling and bubbling. All the while the synth snow continues to fall. Ugh. Now we're just flaring like geysers of acid fire up into the sky. And again, you know how excited I was to start a mix with this? The party probably would have been like 01, something like that. I remember it was an outdoor party. It was like a junkyard or something, or like a tow yard that was like out of commission or not currently in use. Hear it? The acid atmosphere is like you're in some alien acid world, some dimension beyond normal experience, and you're just looking around and there's just acid fire and flares everywhere. And then while you weren't paying attention, the kick drum snuck into the track. It's just like drizzling layer after layer. Now it's sort of like a loud, like alert acid siren, acid air raid, right? Like. Oh, this is reminding me, this is a request, by the way, and the person who requested it also brought up A plus C equals D, or A plus B equals C in D sharp or something like that, which is like it's a crazy record. George basically made a hard acid trance tune and an ambient tune, both of which are over 20 minutes long, and if you play them together, they like harmonize. I'll do that one, but again, it's like a 22-minute track, so when we get to that one, it'll be like a, hey, get comfortable, get a snack, let's sit down and go through this. I mean, this one's like 12 minutes long, so we're not even halfway yet. The liquidity, the low viscosity of the acid work is remarkable, but then now it gets sort of thick and viscous again. And an actual sort of washed out, like ghostly air raid siren. Multiple points where it feels like George is just like flexing his acid muscles. It's like, let me show you what I can do with this. Now it's sort of like a faster line, it's like shooting little acid sprays everywhere. Sort of rattly, high percussive layer comes in. All the while, those like melodic snow drizzles still doing work, still giving atmosphere. high, like little accent flare. Wow, wow. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing these days, bless you, George Saunders. I know he started making a lot of ambient, and it was like kind of Eastern influence, kind of folk ambient. I can swing with some of it. I'll admit, like, I wasn't as fond of that phase of his work as I was, the 90s acid trance, but I do believe he's continued to make music over the years. I think in 2015 he had a release called Save the 303, but it was like, it wasn't as acid heavy as you might think. There was some acid, but it wasn't like this. The percussive rolls and builds just like there's an intensity to the sections of this track where you hear it. And even here, they're still banging just a little less intensely. They're still giving you that rhythm. As the acid just continues to roil and grind away. And again, that like loud siren sort of acid again. This is not a drill. This really is an acid air raid. No, I think the tempo's the same, but it feels like we're in more of a hurry now. Like it feels like we're kind of racing to conclude this air raid. Again, whatever people call this, if you want to call it acid techno, I won't fight you on it. But I don't think you can play this full tune in a like warehouse acid techno set without it standing out. Like, it's like 11 minutes long. Sure, you don't have to play the whole thing, but I feel like this tune is more suited for an outdoor set, and it's more suited for like a acid trance, psychedelic sort of acid set. Less like a warehouse banging kind of, up by the speaker wall in a sort of dusty room sort of acid techno tune. To me, this is like, it'll be like Under the Moon when you hear this. We still got like a minute of de-escalation, acidic outro. Temperature going down though. Washed out, ghostly air raid siren. Brilliant. I haven't listened to the whole thing in a while. It's one of those tunes that, you know, you often do mix like 7 minutes of or 8 minutes of, but probably not the whole 11-minute thing. It's quite the journey. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's another version of the tune you'd like to hear. Other than that, I'll see you next time.